Hi everyone, travel addict guy here. We've got some breaking news from Spain and the Costa del Sol. Bars and restaurants won't be able to serve food and drink after midnight across Spain this summer. In a bid to unify COVID measures across the country, the Ministry of Health put forward a series of proposals which were voted through, albeit with opposition from several regions, including Andalusia. Well, no wonder why. That is going to gut tourism this summer. Spain's Ministry of Health has decided at the last minute to toughen the national measures to control the spread of the C-19 this summer. The department, headed by Carolina Darius, presented a proposal to the Interterritorial Council of the National Health System on Wednesday that all bars and terraces in Spain must stop serving drinks and meals at midnight this summer. Well, when anything goes in at the last minute, it is usually a disaster, and here we go again. Additionally, according to the document, all bars, restaurants, and terraces must be closed by 1 a.m. So that pretty much kills the nightlife, the bar scene, and all of that, regardless of the level of incidence of the virus in the area where the establishments are located. So that makes absolutely no sense. So if you've got 0 cases, you still have to close. So again, what we've been saying all along seems to be true. This has nothing to do with the cases. Furthermore, inside nightclubs and hospitality establishments, the maximum allowed capacity would be 50%. with a maximum of 6 people per table. However, if measures are implemented to guarantee ventilation and air quality control, the capacity may be increased by an additional 10%. Wow, 10%, wow. And I'm sure that the owners will be spending thousands and they have no guarantees of what will happen. What kind of business owner in their right mind is going to go ahead with that? What will not be allowed is dancing indoors or standing with a glass in the hand. Since in discos and entertainment venues, the consumption of drinks and food, both indoors and outdoors, must be seated at tables and the proper safety distance must be ensured. Well, that makes a lot of sense, guys. So I can go into a nightclub, I can put a chair down, I can sit there and I can have a drink. But if I'm standing at a table, I can't have a drink. Like I said, guys, the rules have not made any sense from the beginning. And I've been telling you this over and over, and here we go again. Cases are low, and they want to keep these rules in place. Right along with this, after those rules came out, of course, Andalusia, smartly, they have gone against these rules here, and they have a statement out. Andalusia says it will rebel against Spain's new national C-19 control measures. So we've already got rebellion going on now. Spain is in real turmoil, guys, and this just proves it right now. The central government has warned the regions that the measures have the endorsement of the International Council and they are mandatory. So they're not giving any wiggle room like they did before for the municipalities to set their own limits, and that is what they had done earlier this year or the end of last year. The Junta de Andalusia has rebelled against central government this Thursday, June the 3rd, and has announced that the region will maintain its current virus restrictions and will not follow the national measures approved on Wednesday. Well, I think the reality has finally hit home that if you put all these measures in place, you're not going to have a very good tourist season, and it is starting off quite poorly. In fact, the Madrid, Basque Country, Galicia, and Castilla y Leon regions have also said they will rebel against the mandatory restrictions. Well, there seems to be a consensus going on here, announced after the Interterritorial Council meeting between the Ministry of Health and the regions. The Vice President of the Junta de Andalusia, Juan Marin, said the region will not abide by these new rules, considering that they are a brutal abuse of powers by the Ministry of Health. Wow, that is quite interesting there. When Andalusia rebels against you, you've done something quite wrong, because they have been one of the staunchest on restrictions. The Interterritorial Council of the National Health System, in which the Ministry of Health and the regions are represented, yesterday approved, despite the rejection of 6 regions, the mandatory new measures document. So I guess they don't seem to really care what the rest of Spain wants. It's basically do as I say and not as I do, like I've said before with these politicians. And here we go, we've got controversy again, and they just reopened and they're already fighting amongst themselves one more time. Okay, so in case you missed it, the UK government came out and they said that Spain is still on the amber list, and it's a no-go for tourists this summer. They are warning people And if you come back to the UK, you got to follow all those restrictions on return. And I've talked about that before, COVID tests and quarantines. And nobody wants to go through that after a holiday. Here is an article, I guess, written by Captain Obvious here. The success of the Costa del Sol's summer is in the hands of the UK government. Well, that is quite obvious, I would say, with half of the hotels on the Costa still closed. Wow, that is half of the hotels still closed, ladies and gentlemen. We're into June now. Spain remains at amber on the safe travel list, a level at which the British have been advised not to holiday in a country. The reactivation of tourism on the Costa del Sol continues to hang on C-19 pandemic control restrictions in the UK. After Boris Johnson's government confirmed this Thursday, June the 3rd, that Spanish destinations continue to be considered unsafe for holidays and travelers will need to quarantine and test on their return. The UK's Minister of Transport, Grant Shapps, actually went further and urged the British not to go on holiday to countries at amber on the safe travel list, such as Spain. Wow, that is stunning and terrible news there, guys, which is a preferred travel destination for the British and the main international market for the Costa del Sol. Yes, the Costa del Sol lives on the Brits, and if they don't come, they are going to have a big issue this summer, and they're already starting to see that. The announcement that Spain was still considered unsafe in the new UK update generated concern among professionals in the hotel sector on the coast, who will have to wait at least 3 weeks until the list is reviewed again. Wow, that is 3 weeks a loss there. The reopening of hotels and the success of the high season will depend on this, with the sector pointing out that half of the establishments are still closed in June. Wow, that is just crazy, guys. On Thursday, the Costa del Sol Hotel Business Association, ACOS, announced it after closing May with 40.96% of the establishments open and 38% occupancy. They start June with 48% still closed, and with occupancy forecasts of 40.4% this month. There are still 151 hotels to reopen, representing more than 40,400 beds. Well, there's no one to fill those beds right now, unfortunately. The opening up of tourism on the coast is uneven. Malaga and Estepona lead the recovery with more than 80% of beds available, but Nerja and Mijas are at the back of the queue without yet managing to reach 30% according to ACOS. Torremolinos, the town with the largest volume of beds on the coast, only has 60.7% of its hotel offer in operation. Inland Ronda already has 67% of its places ready to receive tourists, compared to Antequera, which has 35%. So that is very distressing news, and unfortunately, guys, after the last report where we had so much hope, this is gonna be a very unfortunate report today. This is another stunning article, guys. Wow, just some stunning things today. I'm just completely shocked by what I'm reading here, and I guess Miko was right. The Catman was right about this, that conditioning. Once you condition someone, a mouse, a cat, a person, we are pretty much the same. Survey suggests 62% of people will continue to wear a face mask even when not mandatory. Wow, that is stunning. Spaniards, that is stunning to hear. This is a country that when I arrived here, they would kiss you on the cheek. They were quite open. Instead of taking your hand, a lot of times the girls, like I said, they would kiss you on the cheek. And now they're going to wearing masks all the time. They want to continue even wearing masks after this all ends. I'm just stunned by this news, guys. The Spanish study suggests that masks are still likely to be used on public transport, in hospitals, and during the flu and allergy seasons. And I've been contacted by so many people. They want me to participate in these anti-mask rallies, and they're talking about take off the mask, and it's just showing you that people want the mask now, and even after the pandemic ends in Spain, they want to continue with the mask. So I'm sorry, guys, you're just wasting your time with that one. All of those protests and things are for naught. Some 62% of Spaniards will continue to wear face masks in public even when it isn't mandatory, according to a new survey. I'm very disappointed by this, and I'm very surprised that they were conditioned so easily. A trend study by Cofares, a cooperative for the distribution of medicines and health products in Spain, set out to discover people's long-term plans after more than a year of wearing the protection. Now they call them protection. Isn't that nice? Protection instead of they're masks. They're masks. They're covering up your face. They're keeping you from breathing, guys, against coronavirus as well. Their preferences for the type of mask. Now they even got preferences, what kind of mask they want you to use. The study found that people will particularly be prepared to continue using masks on public transport, in hospitals, and during the flu and allergy season. Asked about the type of mask they prefer to use, people who responded to the survey were clear that they preferred the FFP2 and surgical mask versus cloth ones. So they're talking about that big thick mask, the one you can hardly breathe with on. That is the mask that they want to use. In last place came fabric masks at 21%, which do not have any guarantees of protection against the virus, which I've been saying. This one I'm wearing now has no protection whatsoever. According to the Cofari's data, in December 2020 and January 2021, the supply to pharmacies of FFP2, those are basically the N95 masks, guys. In English, that's what they are. The big thick ones where you can hardly breathe out of them. Masks grew by 62%, and that of surgical ones by 1,400% over the previous year. By region, Murcia and Valencia stand out as the areas with the highest preference for use of the N95 masks. 54.3% and 53.4% respectively. Close behind are Cantabria. Wow, they even got studies now about the mask and who's gonna wear the mask, guys. The mask, the mask, the mask. That's all it's all about, the mask, guys. Over and over with the mask. So they're saying now that people are gonna continue to wear the mask after this all ends, and that is stunning, guys. I'm just completely shocked by that, and I'm actually blown away by that. Who is gonna want to wear these masks when they've had the vaccine and they're completely healthy, and people have got conditioned to using them? And I guess whatever you do to someone, if you put the rat on the treadmill or if you feed it the cheese, it's gonna go to where you've done that over and over. And I guess human beings are not as sophisticated as we thought. And I'll touch on one last article here, guys, before I wrap it up. The effectiveness of the vaccine has led to a significant reduction in the number of C-19 deaths in Malaga province. It is claimed the number of deaths from the virus has decreased by 94% in the last 3 months, going from 395 deaths in February, the last month with the highest number of fatalities the entire pandemic in Malaga, to the 23 with which May ended. As more of the population has been vaccinated, the number of deaths has decreased significantly, and there were 152 deaths in March and 71 in April. The immunization of the elderly, a population group in which the infection can be most serious, has brought about a marked decrease in deaths. Well, that's what it was all about from the beginning, guys, and that's what I've talked about on my channel the whole time, that it's mostly affected the older people, and those are the ones that have, unfortunately, that have passed away from this virus. The young people are almost unaffected. I mean, they get sick, but they don't, it's not fatal. So here we go again, guys, and even though the rate is coming down, they want to continue with the mask, the regulations, the restrictions, and I've had it up to here, guys. I've had it up to here with all of it. And it's time to fight back. I'm glad to see that Andalusia is fighting back against these rules that make no sense, guys. And I'm sorry I'm fired up today. I am upset about all of this, and wow, so many things going on here. And there's also been a crackdown on Brits here recently in Spain, and they've been sending back a lot of Brits if you don't have your papers here, and they've also been denying Brits residency, and that is another thing that's been going on. So a lot of issues going on here in Spain, guys. I love Spain, but I don't like what is going on, and it's very saddening to me to see what is happening here right now. So unfortunately, guys, this is a very negative report, and I'm sorry, it's the truth, and that is what is going on, guys. Okay, guys, I was gonna end the report, but I got a message from Miko first, from Catman. Everyone knows him as the Catman. He's been traveling around Spain, and he was just in Almeria. He was enjoying it there, and he was on his way to Murcia, and he had something happen to him, guys, and I want to report it. He sent me a message and a picture, and he was kind of frantic. I talked to him on the phone afterwards, about an hour later after this happened, and his bus was stopped by Guardia Civil, which are the national police. So he told me that the bus pulled off the road, and they took him to a certain location, and there was a bunch of Guardia Civil, so it was like a checkpoint. They stopped him, they took everyone off the bus, and they had everyone get their luggage and put it in front of them, I guess, and stand in a line. So this is the first time I've heard of anything like this, guys. So I want you to be aware that this is going on. And he said they brought out dogs that were sniffing the luggage, and the first dog did not find anything. And then the second dog he said he brought in, which he believes was a fake dog, alerted on like 4 or 5 different bags. And of course the people were very concerned. He said they all spoke Spanish, so there were no tourists, unfortunately, on the bus. I guess that would be very inconvenient if you don't speak Spanish. And they proceeded to search the bags of the persons where the dog had alerted, I guess. So Miko thinks it was basically the dog was trained to alert on certain bags, because they searched the bags and they asked some questions to the people, certain people they picked out, and they found nothing, and they let them all go, and they did not check their IDs. But that was quite strange. And he said that some of the people looked quite frightened. There was one young woman, he believes it was a Spanish woman, and she looked quite frightened. So it pains me to go ahead and recount this story, but this is what happened, guys. And of course, I always bring you the truth on this channel. So anyone that is traveling by bus now, especially from Andalusia to the northern part of Spain, because it looks to me like he was crossing that line there, you might have to be aware that this is a possibility. You could be stopped by the Guardia Civil and your packages could be checked, or your luggage. So it's just something to be aware of, guys. And I'm gonna try to include the picture, because Miko sent me a picture when he was in the line there, or he was near the bus. That is all I have, but this is 100% true what he told me, and I actually spoke to him, like I said, recently. So that is the situation, guys, that I have to report there. So another stunning events happening today in Spain. That is the latest news here from Spain, and in particular the Costa del Sol. So see you in the next video, guys. Travel Addict Guy. Take care, everyone.